The following is a presentation of the Best Station. The views and comments made in the following program do not necessarily represent the views and comments of the Best Station.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fast Pitch Game 15. I'm your co-host, MC Brown.
I am Eric Lenneberg.
And we want to welcome you all to a great show, Doctor. How are you doing on this fine day?
I'm doing good. It's getting a little warm in the state we record in, but I'm staying cool. How about you?
I'm doing okay. We cannot reveal what it is because, as you will reveal shortly, as we will, you have some people chasing you for revenge on when you insult certain baseball players.
There's only one player I insult.
We're about 2 weeks for spring training, give or take, because we like to not be pinned down for any type of time period. Plus, we want, archived listeners to find Game 15 for various reasons, obviously.
Yes, one thing about spring training, I've been to a lot of games working, as you know, for the MLB Network.
Yes.
Best players are starting to come in now. The first couple of weeks you saw minor leaguers and maybe rookies trying to get a chance. Now you're seeing the regular lineups that'll be there for the season.
And if you want the doctor to chase someone down for you, he can be reached, and we both can be, at the Fast Pitch MLB on Twitter, Facebook.com/the Fast Pitch. As always, thanks to our good personal longtime friend,
Craig Best. And you're right, MC, thebeststation.net. Yeah, you're right, MC. Anyone wants any particular player you want to hear from, I will interview him.
Yes, thebeststation.net holds those archives we aforementioned. And Facebook.com/thebeststation. Give Craig a line. Tell him, hey, I love that commercial you threw there. I love the music you threw on there. Craig wants to hear from you guys, too. So without Craig's producing, we would not be able to bring such great shows to you, and as well as the Comicasters also on thebeststation.net, so they give us shout-outs, we give them shout back, and I know somebody on that show.
I do too, I think, yeah.
They sound very similar. So we got a great show, awesome show, great reveals, and just other awesome things lined up for you here, and we're going to jump right into it, Doctor.
A lot of feedback again.
Middle of spring training as we are here in this potentially, so the Doctor doesn't get attacked by a stalker, spring training state, so that narrows it down.
No, that's true.
You can message me. I'll let you know where he lives on a daily basis. First social media feedback person
is
at Casimir Girl 26. Yes, what I was talking about. If she wants to know where you're at, she'll have to bribe me. But I won't sell you out, Doctor.
Good.
This is what she says. And this was talking about Craig Best as well, referencing our great producer. I was ecstatic to see the interview with Scott Casimir last show. Doctor of Nursery needs to drop his man purse, nut up, and face the music and interview my man. I've been tweeting Scott about this bozo Erica, talking smack about him. I can't wait for Scott's verbal beatdown of you. I cannot wait. She emphasizes that. And right off the bat, after a break last show, she is coming out shooting at you, my friend. What do you have to say to
let me reply, Casimir Girl.
Yes.
And I'll do my regular weekly segment now, the Scott Casimir Watch.
Yes.
You want me to interview this guy?
Okay.
He currently has the highest earned run average in all Major League Baseball spring training this year. And let me point out what that average is. It is true.
Oh, wow.
17.18. So most of you fans know this, but that means every 9 innings he is giving up 17 runs.
I can't imagine that's going to continue into our season.
Opposing hitters are batting .571 against Scott Casimir. That was a real coup when the Dodgers signed him, don't you think, MC?
Yeah. This. As we have mentioned in previous shows, we talk way too much about Scott Casimir, but there's a listener that likes him, so you like to bash him. And if he's ever a guest on the Fast Pitch and you're in person, he will probably strangle you.
I would love to have him as a guest.
Yes.
I really would. I got a list of questions
Maybe
for him.
you will have better luck with him than some of your other spring training that we can't mention.
We won't mention, but yes.
We may reveal that next show.
One player in particular.
Fun players that spurn you and rebuke you.
Okay.
So we'll find out. But you got some feedback as well, Doctor, so why don't you give us at least one of them?
Yes, one of our regular listeners and contributors, Ray Noriega of Los Angeles, a long-time baseball observer. He talked about a couple things. First, the Garrett Cole situation we discussed.
Yes, we talked about that last show. Fire away,
and Ray agrees with you, actually. I took the Pirates standpoint, but Ray said only a $10,000 increase doesn't seem right. He's been the ace. He's been stellar.
Yes.
He's the best pitcher on the Pirates.
Yeah.
And, Neil Huntington really, according to Ray, really messed up this one. And he believes now, Ray says, quote, I don't see him staying around the Pirates after his free agent. In fact, he's up for arbitration this year, and they may trade him depending on where they are in the standings in the deadline.
Here's the thing where I feel you're paid, Ray, as I discussed last show, is the Greg Maddux situation. Management paid. Here's how they didn't necessarily even pay, money-wise, because Greg didn't even stay with the team. So what happened is he won the Cy Young, and he wanted more money even than we were offering, the cheapskates at the time. And Greg Maddux went to the Braves, won a World Series ring, spent majority of his Cy Young career with the Atlanta Braves.
Won 3 more with the Braves.
And Ray, that could be Garrett Cole. Well, I'm saying it is, but he knows because he says, hey, pay the man, keep him happy, and then maybe, although it's to the chagrin of the doctor who doesn't believe this will happen, maybe you would stay. If you pay anybody, he's going to stay. But if you're the Pirates and you're going to be kind of cheap in the situation, goodbye.
Well, and I'm thinking
better draft somebody else because you're not going to replace him.
I'm thinking a little differently now after getting Ray's feedback, because he also mentioned other aces on staff, even number 2 starters, all make more money than Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he's youngster still, obviously in baseball standards. But here's the deal: do you do your normal practices and then you keep angering Garrett Cole and you're lowballing him and threatening to lower his salary to league minimum? A guy who almost brought you into the playoffs, outdueled by the Cy Young Award winner, obviously the doctor has to basically accept. So in that situation, you have to say that there is some validity to rewarding somebody and having potential.
I will say that.
Staying with the team, maybe.
I'm not going to say I was wrong, but I will say, because I'm never wrong, I will say that I've had a little bit of a change of heart on this.
The prescription for you is admitting your mistakes, Doctor.
Well, I don't make mistakes. Ray also had feedback on our other topic, baseball salaries, and I've had a bunch of feedback on this. I can't read them all on the air, but Ray actually agreed with me on this one. On the high salaries of players, and remember Danny D sent that message to us.
Yes.
Ray says, no, they're not too high. They're not too much, because think of these things.
Yes.
At the end of the day, they have a craft and a talent that other people don't have. The owners are the people putting out the investment. Think about the travel. Think about how often they travel and have to be game ready. And a lot of people don't realize the work that is put into it. Think about a pinch hitter.
But here's the thing, Doctor, when looking at these situations, we're looking at players making a lot of money for their, and I know the owners are making a lot of money too. And my only contention to bring it back to it, because I in my own profession, as well as you would, and when you're not lounging around on a baseball couch, is
I get paid to do that.
Yeah, right. When you're with the MLB Network on location. You want to be rewarded for your hard work in there. So when you're on there, if you're the best at, go out there and doing what you do, and myself, and, if we feel like, and if we feel that way, we want to be rewarded for it, and that's with the players on their end. But on the same token, it's the league obviously fighting, whether it be the union or who's dictating that you cannot put a salary cap. There is a direct correlation, as I've mentioned many times, because this is where I know the most info about is when the Cubs had to raise the ticket price to pay for their renovations. It's because, hey, we need to be able to afford these players, or we will not be able to field the team you expect us to field. So that then tells me I can't get into a game for as cheap as another ballparker. I'm going to pay a lot more money, and you could say, hey, do we want this to our sport we love, Major League Baseball, to be like NBA games? Because you both know we cannot afford it. I cannot afford to go to an NBA game.
I wouldn't go to an NBA game, but I can't afford it.
It's very expensive. So I mean, so you're going to price out America's pastime. What are we going to be like the upper percentile? The 1% pastime. I mean, so that's the thing. And we mentioned this, and we hope to have more discussions in future games about. Talking about special deals you've mentioned in the past, that actually minor league baseball, as when we talk to our great guest Tim Haggerty, hopefully in the future we'll be able to ask him about this, is how affordable the minor league games
I'm
are.
interested in what he'll have to say about that.
Yeah, minor league games too are more affordable, and they do a lot of promotions. That's maybe we need to see that. Maybe the Major League Baseball needs to bring a lot more promotions back, or mandated promotions, to allow these family. If the Diamondbacks do that, we need to see a lot of these other teams doing fan days and family days where you can bring a big family, to the game and not feel like you now cannot go on vacation for 2 or 3 years.
Well, see, any person watching baseball, most people, and this is Ray answering again, they don't realize the work that's put into this, and he uses the example of a pinch hitter.
Yeah.
People think he's sitting on the bench all night, 8th or 9th inning comes around, and they call him up and he takes his swings.
Yeah.
Not correct at all. He is working all night, usually back in the batting cage for the first few innings, and oftentimes gets called from the back where the batting cage is to come up to bat. He's not sitting on the dugout picking up splinters.
He's got to be ready, because he's not going to have a job if he's not.
That's right.
Because that is his job, to be ready at all times.
Yes, that's correct.
That's just awesome feedback from Ray. Ray also is participating in our fast pitch feud and stuff too. So we love to hear from Ray. So Ray, just keep that feedback coming.
Ray, sure. I know Ray. He's another personal friend, a long-time observer of baseball. He's very sharp, very sharp. Up there with Chuck Boyer.
Yes, definitely. Chuck. Good luck, Chuck. You have a correction from last show. I'll let you handle this too. Actually, correct us both. We need to get this out of the way.
Yes, I do. Jeff Hamilton asked a question about
another fast pitch feud participator. Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, a regular listener.
Yes.
Jeff said, did we know the one player who in his first major league game, in his first at bat, hit a home run?
We were wrong, unfortunately.
Well, and it's very, very crushing to me, because I haven't been wrong in about 20 years, but I was wrong and you were wrong about this. We said Ozzie Smith.
But I guessed, and you told me I was right.
Well, so really I was only half wrong. You were totally wrong.
You were wrong to tell me
too.
I was right. I was just guessing.
Well,
I thought I was.
You guessed wrong, and I pointed it out, so.
Well, now you are.
I am now. Jeff was quick to correct us on that, and he did it in a funny way, which I appreciated.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
But the real answer was Hoyt Wilhelm.
Hoyt Wilhelm.
A long-time pitcher in the major leagues. And Jeff, so we corrected this on the website, and I'm going to make sure you get a special piece of memorabilia from the Texas Rangers, your favorite team.
We will hug you and tell you that we are sorry for that mistake. Jeff, in all seriousness, great listener to our show. Also, any participator in the Fast Pitch Feud. And Jeff, yes, we apologize. We were wrong, doctor, mostly, for telling me I was right. And
well, it'll be another 10 years before I'm wrong again.
Next time, we will make sure we Google it, even though you told us not to Google it. That we don't look like we are idiots here on the Fast Pitch. Yeah. But yes, he did stump us. We did tell him that online. So, Jeff, great job. We will not be reading any stumps that we don't already know next time.
Yes.
Or we will make sure we're not as certain in our
and as I mentioned, I had a bunch of feedback on the salary issue brought up by Danny D, and I believe we're going to have more and more every week.
This is not going away, for sure.
No. And this is another person who tends to take my viewpoint on this, although this person didn't mention some of the points I made. We got Sue Ann from Tempe, Arizona, talking about all the sacrifices young men who are teenagers are making. Also, they're held to a higher standard. They're expected to be role models. Now, she has a son attempting a pro sports career, not baseball, and she has lived through all this and seen the preparation and the work that they go through. And I'll mention something else. I had a friend who pitched in the major leagues, and we may be talking about him later today.
Yes.
I remember him telling me that when he was in high school, all his friends were going to the lake and going to parties and things. He was out mowing the grass on the baseball field for his coach so he could get more work in. And that's an example. I think that's what Sue Ann is talking about. So
that's interesting.
When they work their way up, again, I don't think the average fan realizes these guys aren't just out playing high school and college baseball and having fun. It is a job, and they're trying to reach a goal of getting to the major leagues and getting rewarded, and that's what they do.
Yeah, and we're still tying in the contracts. I hope that's what will make me bring this special person back. Listener at Baseball First 1839 sent a Facebook message to us. That's what we want to be known as. These contracts are out of control, he tells us, Doctor. Stanton got 200-something million, and Bautista wants 150, and he's screaming now because it's exclamation points. Really? Whose fault is it? I blame ownership for letting this happen. What say you? So he's asking both of us, well, how did this happen? So what do you think, Doctor?
A lot of people blame ownership. If you go back to when free agents first came into existence after the Curt Flood lawsuit. I believe the first ones were Dave McNally and Andy Messersmith.
Yeah.
George Steinbrenner, the owner of the Yankees, went all out to get all these big names. He paid Reggie Jackson huge money, and he set the precedent. And during that period, for about 10 years, I remember a lot of teams saying, if we don't spend the money too, we're not going to compete.
Somebody
the Yankees are going to win every year.
Yeah, somebody else will if we don't.
So that started it. But on the other hand, remember what I said. These are the top 700 performers in the world in their profession, and the money they generate for Major League Baseball and their organizations, they are getting a small percentage, a very small.
Parity also brings into play, as we've mentioned in previous shows as well. We want all teams to parity. I mean, your luxury, like your salary tax, is not going to affect a team who's raking in a lot more money. Yankees are going to pay that salary tax, luxury tax over like a team like the Royals, because the Royals don't have that luxury. No pun intended.
And yet the Royals won.
Yet the Royals won, obviously, which was great for baseball and great for us all to see. But they got to do it within the confines of what's financially responsible for their team.
Yes, and I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, who's responsible at Baseball First says, well, I mean, you look at, to use the Cubs, they wrote a blank. They took a blank check to Andre Dawson in 1987. So
and he won the MVP.
And he won the MVP. But what is too much? There's no salary cap. So who's responsible for setting that thing? The union won't allow.
I don't believe there should be a salary cap.
I believe there needs to be. I think you have to have a certain thing like. We talk a lot of times and we have a lot of fun with talking about our fantasy sports. There's a salary cap when you play fantasy sport. Otherwise, you could choose anybody and beat the tar out of anybody. Everybody's throwing the best out there. You got to have some sort of limit to, okay, this team, you all spend this. This is what it is. Otherwise, an outspender who happens to be located in a big market, who's going to have all this extra income and cash to throw at. And who cares about the luxury tax? In their mind, they have extra income.
No, that's
They're going to dump that in there.
That's the rules that are in place. And let me mention something else.
But it's spread out among all the other teams, so they're spending it, but that little extra that they have to pay as a tax is spread out between, 29 other teams. Hey. They're not really seeing the benefit to use that money towards their own players.
I didn't make the rules. I'm just saying that I support the salaries.
Who's to blame, though?
Let me mention something else. And I think you and I have talked about this off the air. If you suddenly have a family member, a nephew, an uncle, a son, for instance, who becomes a baseball prospect, your attitude quickly changes. I can tell you mine did. It quickly changes to, well, you know what? I want him to get paid as much as possible.
Greed.
So that's not greed. It's wanting your son to excel and be rewarded for it.
Pay your bills the rest of your life. Well, so you could retire, right?
I wouldn't retire because I wouldn't let my son do that. But I'm telling you that your opinion will change. Some of you listeners, if you have young children, and as they grow up, they become baseball prospects. Watch what you say there.
Sue Ann was saying, "Hey, I want this."
If he makes it, he should be rewarded.
My children.
Her point, though, was that most people don't realize how much work goes into it and what those kids sacrifice. Yes. So I agree.
Yeah, these are great questions. To be sticking on there on this, and we obviously we could go to the cows come home talking about salaries and
we
stuff.
could do a whole show. We could do back-to-back shows talking of nothing else.
One of our great listeners, longtime listeners here, at Beat LA Big Z Force. Twitter messages me, what do you guys think about the Goose Gossage comment? Do you think he is right about the arrogance of the players, or do you take Bryce Harper's side with the baseball needs a new attitude? And we cannot really answer this here because that actually is our hot topic of the week later on in the show, but stay tuned for this, listeners, especially you Beat LA Big Z Force. We will discuss that at length.
That was really something.
That will be our hot topic of the week, so I want to make sure we answer you, but just stay tuned, and we will definitely be getting to that. So, Doctor, you got any other feedback? I got one more after this.
I have too many to read, and it's all about salaries, so I'll get to them more on future shows. We want to
thank you all, obviously, as usual, for your great feedback.
Yeah, I had 15 more messages besides the one I read. So.
Yes, so, we want to thank you all. We had our last one here from, it's not necessarily salary. This is Yardstick 44 sends a message, having a hot spring training. Are the Diamondbacks the team to beat in the NL?
No question in my mind. No question at all.
He's got a mustache on his picture. Is that Chuck Boyer in disguise?
No, this wouldn't be Chuck. Oh, Chuck would just come out and say it on the show.
Right? Yeah, you wouldn't hide
As I told you during our prediction show, I put the Arizona Diamondbacks not only first place in the National League West, in the National League, into the World Series.
Chuck has had some comment on social media, like he's spring training leader. That doesn't mean anything, Chuck. Your team could be undefeated in spring training. That's even if the Royals and Mets had great spring trainings last year. I've seen teams have horrible spring trainings come back and they go hot out the gate.
Hasn't happened lately.
We'll see about this, Chuck. And as always, you're one injury away from crippling your team. So
that's true.
So I wouldn't.
Jack Greinke tears the UCL. It's all over.
There it is. If he gives somebody a dirty look and strains his eyebrow and can't see to pitch the mound. Hint at a future
or he
show.
Suddenly is accidentally tripped by that person and he breaks an arm, he won't be around.
If he has spurns too many reporters for MLB, he will be mysteriously disappear and he will not be the ace of the Diamondback staff. They're definitely one of the team to beat, Yardstick 44, but the team, I got Nationals, Cubs, and probably Giants higher than them. But I see them as if they're not winning that division, and I'm wrong, which I could be. But if the Giants don't win, I believe they will.
I'm not wrong, and I'm saying they're going to win. Yeah, you could be wrong. You often are. I'm not.
It's also an even-numbered year, so let's remember that.
Yeah, Harold Vandiver a couple weeks ago reminding us of that.
Harold will be right there with me. So we had chock full, and as always, we can be reached at the Fast Pitch MLB, Facebook.com/the Fast Pitch. We have had so much feedback that we couldn't even get into our newswire yet, so we're going to get that when we come back from break. This is a first on the Fast Pitch, but we're happy to do it because that means you guys are flooding us with fan feedback. And if we have this every show, we'll be ecstatic because that means our first third of our show is filled up with content already. So we love all your feedback. We love you listeners giving us this. So don't stop now. We definitely we love to dedicate this time. And like I said, if we get enough of this, we'll dedicate a whole special fan show to it if need be. And we love it. So we unfortunately do have to go to a station break. We're not sad about it, but it has to be done. So we ask you to join it. Stay with us. We're going to give you some Who Am I clues from the great doctor. And when we return, we will get into our Around the Diamond segment, officially named for our MLB Newswire. So take it away with Who Am I, Doctor?
All right, Who Am I for this week? Who am I? I grew up in Hazel Park, Michigan, and was a member of a College World Series team at Eastern Michigan University. I am remembered for many things, but especially for my first World Series game when I was 21 years old, and I struck out Reggie Jackson to win the game.
Wow.
Finally,
impressive.
Yes, it is. And the last clue, I was the only MLB pitcher in the last 46 years to win more than 25 games in a season.
That is impressive.
So who am I?
The Fast Pitch will return in just one moment.
It's Captain Midnight! Brought to you by Ovaltine. Chocolate-flavored Ovaltine. Delicious, nutritious, instant Ovaltine. The fortified food drink that tops them all. Now for a visit to the Secret Squadron Hall of Fame.
Gee, the Secret Squadron Hall of Fame.
Yes, Jack, and every one of these great athletes is a member of the Secret Squadron. For example, Crazy Legs Hirsch, one of football's all-time greats. And Florence Chadwick, world-famous English Channel swimmer. And here is Duke Snider. His 4 home runs during the 1955 World Series led the Brooklyn Dodgers to their first World Championship. Let's join Duke in the clubhouse. Duke, what do you do to keep yourself in top condition?
Well, Captain Midnight, I get plenty of sleep, exercise, and the right kind of foods. And I drink chocolate-flavored Ovaltine. Remember, I said Ovaltine, not one of those imitation milk flavorings, or the other kind with just a few vitamins.
That's right, Duke. Ovaltine's got what it takes. 27 vitamins, minerals, and other essential food elements that make Ovaltine such a rich source of nourishment.
And Ovaltine tastes good, too.
Right again, Duke. Boys and girls, drink your Ovaltine every day, just as Duke Snider says. Get chocolate-flavored Ovaltine.
Some of us seem to strike out whenever it comes to taxes. If you need help getting out of the dugout, Serenity Tax and Financial Services is here to help. They take care of everything from tax preparation and audits to liens and levies and much more. They have offices in Los Angeles and Lancaster, California, If you want to hit a home run with your taxes, check them out at serenitytaxhelp.com for more information.
And we are back on the Fast Pitch Game 15, and Doctor, you have our Who Am I reveal.
Yes, I do, and I want to point out again, the only MLB pitcher in the last 46 years to win more than 25 games. That is an accomplishment. But our Who Am I this week? Bob Welch.
Bob Welch.
17-year veteran, 9 years with the Dodgers, 8 with the A's, and friend of mine, MC, I guess since 1980. I've known Bob.
Yeah.
What I do want to mention is in June, we are going to do a tribute show to Bob Welch on the second anniversary of his very early passing. He was 57 years old. And
Way too young.
I talked with Dave Stewart last spring, MC, who was one of Bob's teammates in Oakland.
Yeah.
He's the Diamondbacks general manager now. But we sat down, we were talking, and all we talked about was Bobby Welch and some stories and how we miss him. So, yes, we'll be doing a show on Bob Welch. A lot of our listeners are Bob Welch fans.
We look forward to that. And special tease, the Fast Pitch hopes to become even more interactive. So hopefully maybe it's a little tease. Maybe by that time we'll be able to have people calling in and giving us feedback possibly. That is a possibility in the future. We have other mediums that we're looking at. So that would be fitting for sure for a gentleman of a character of Bob Welch. Definitely when you think Major League pitchers, obviously that great season he's had there. And
1990 that year, he won 27 games. That just doesn't happen anymore.
He was a staple of just consistency and just one of the great pitchers of that era. And, way too soon. Left us way too soon. So, so look forward to that show. That'll be a lot of
That'll be great.
Reminiscent, a lot of fun.
Also, what I can promise on that show, I'm going to have a few people pre-recorded who knew Bob, played with him, or were friends of his, and we'll play those on the show.
That'll be great. Yeah, we look forward to that. So, stay tuned as the Fast Pitch definitely looks ahead, definitely towards stuff as we usually do. So, we're going to get right into this, which our social media feedback kind of took up, but we're back with our newly titled Around the Diamond segment.
Around the Diamond. I love it.
MLB Newswire, Around the Diamond here. So, we got stuff to catch you up on, all the great show. We had a little bit more time than you'd like in between shows here from 14 to 15, so we got some news. Most notably, the guys who hadn't found teams have teams, Doctor.
Yes, and, very late signing.
A few of them for sure, and then the two notables we had. The latest one we had, obviously, was Austin Jackson. That was the very last one we had that was on last show, but and then it started to turn the corner for gentlemen like Pedro Alvarez.
Pedro Alvarez, I wondered where he was going to go. He's with the Orioles.
Sir. He's now with the Orioles, indeed. So they were missing out on Dexter Fowler due to the Cubs sweeping in and picking him back up. Pedro will now be on the Orioles, and that may move Trumbo to the outfield, who's going to be slotted kind of first base.
I think it will move Trumbo out there.
Or / DH, I guess, because they got Chris Davis, too. So David Freese is now with the Pirates.
And I've been saying for weeks, months actually, why hasn't David Freese been signed yet? Clutch player, great postseason player, but he's now with the Pirates. Waiting too long.
That type of deal that we were
could very well be.
But between our last show in spring training, we had guys released and re-signing with other teams.
Yes.
We had Mike Olt, who was with the Sox. He was released. He signed with the Padres. And we also had one of your favorite players that was taken out by one of your Dodgers, Ruben Tejada, who was not only taken out of the game with a broken leg, he was actually taken out of the Mets as he was released.
I heard he was released, and
signed with a team that needs a shortstop, the St. Louis Cardinals, who lost will not have Johnny Peralta for a good amount of time.
Yeah, so Tejada's with the Cardinals, and let's see what happens when the Cardinals play the Dodgers and Utley's on first base again.
Utley slides and takes him out again.
Well, it's good old hardball. If it happens, it happens. Tejada needs how to avoid a sliding runner.
Probably something that's going to, now that he's not in the Mets, we don't know what will happen with, unless they just, if there's some retaliation, I don't know. But Johnny Peralta could be out until the All-Star break following thumb surgery, so that's obviously a huge need for the Cardinals. Yes. They filled it with Ruben Tejada here. So just other, again, on injury news, the Marlins right-hander Carter Capps underwent Tommy John surgery, so he will not obviously be pitching this year. Sad news, Athletics right-hander Jared Parker refractured his right elbow.
That's really sad because he is a really young pitcher with great potential. He had a couple of good seasons. I'm sad to hear that, as you are.
It's very sad, yeah. And Phillies outfielder Aaron Alther,
From the Phillies?
Yeah, will miss 4 to 6 months following wrist surgery. So some big injuries. We had a couple of them. I think we were talking about last show as well. Which, where there is injury, there's also opportunity. So
That's right.
We talk about many times on the show. That ties into many players having the opportunity they wouldn't normally have. We talk about many times, just how that can impact a player's career.
Yes, and one other thing, too. It's
open
going
that door for somebody.
One thing it will impact is the predictions we made for the season. I know we're going to do.
Sir.
Steve Kilcullen, one of our listeners last week, was asking about new predictions, and I promised him we would have some before opening day.
Yes, so yeah, we will. I believe our next show, just a little bit of tease too, while we're doing this, is Game 16. That's going to be a guest-centric show with, as we will talk about at the close, we'll tease that.
Yes.
But Game 17 would have possibly having that, that potential to have another spring training prediction.
Yes.
So, to get back into things here, we have Adam LaRoche retiring. And the news was then leaked why, and this was a bizarre thing. It's I guess his son was not allowed in the clubhouse for extended periods of time, and I guess that angered Adam LaRoche to the point where he decided to retire.
Well, I know you feel differently than I do. I know, but I don't see why they were doing that to him.
There's that sacred clubhouse. I mean, does a kid need to be in there and 24/7 with the team? He's not a member of the Chicago White Sox, so it's great when they have the family members allowed to go in the clubhouse. But you know as well as I do, we've both been in locker rooms of different type of sports. There's sometimes what stays there has got to. What's in the locker room stays there. Maybe not a place for kids at all times.
Well, coincidentally, MC, and I know you remember this, my son went to work as a bat boy in the Arizona Fall League. When I went to work for the Seattle Mariners, they had him as their bat boy. And not only that, he did that right through high school and was always in the clubhouse before the game. Of course, he knew the rules, and I used to try and pry stories out of him. He wouldn't do it, but the players liked him. He was part of the mix in
there. Your son was
there.
very respectful, which was good.
He was.
I'm not saying that Adam LaRoche's son is, but they had a protocol.
Yeah.
If there was a protocol in place that your son was a bat boy, so he wasn't just your son and you were playing on the team. That would have been different.
Yes.
Your son had a job to do. And,
yes.
And that is a little bit different here. I don't know. LaRoche just had enough. He left a lot of money on the table. I think $13 million.
He did. I'm surprised.
That is very surprising. He has his pride. He has what he was willing to take, and I guess he didn't like what the White Sox were dictating, and now they need a DH because I believe he won't be splitting time with Abreu now.
That's right.
That's very interesting. Course of events when I learned this. So.
One of them, like you said, it's bizarre. One of the most bizarre stories we heard in a long time.
Yeah, that was kind of out of left field. I was just talking to a coworker who was a great White Sox fan, by the name of Jamie. She was mentioning she wasn't a big fan of LaRoche, and when I seen her next, I was like, it's almost like you predicted this coming or something. So yeah, it was.
So I didn't know about it until yesterday. A friend of mine named Dana Herrick texted me about it because he's a big Diamondbacks fan, Dana, and LaRoche played for the Diamondbacks for a couple of years.
Well, maybe he'll come out of retirement. Maybe that's his plan.
Maybe he'll come out of retirement and become a Dodgers pinch hitter for whenever Scott Kazmir pitches.
Maybe he'll return to the Diamondbacks. And
that could be.
And just go to the team. Maybe he...
be a pinch hitter, a role player.
Chuck Boyer's favorite player. I don't know. In other news, speaking of retirements, Brad Penny and Rafael Soriano retired. We just actually announced that Soriano was signed with the Blue Jays. Now he's retired.
Now he's retired.
Couldn't make the team, or
no idea what was going through his mind. Brad Penny's had a long career, but his best years were early in his career, so he's realized it's time.
Yeah, the Cubs released Rex Brothers, who at one point in time was the closer of the Rockies. That's a little surprising. Nobody could use him in the bullpen. Alfredo Simon returned to the Reds. I believe he was on the Tigers.
I saw that signing, and he didn't do well with the Tigers, but you may not realize this. His first 3 years with the Reds, he had the most wins and the lowest earned run average.
He was a great pitcher with the Reds.
And now he's returned, and he's still young.
Yeah. So yeah, the Reds need pitching. The Reds need players.
Yeah, the Reds need a lot,
and they might flip them too. They've been known to do that.
That's
now.
Possible.
They don't have their team under for the structure, I think, to be competing for a while.
Yeah.
Marlon Byrd signs with the Indians, and he was another name out there that he actually had some good years with the Phillies recently when he was on them, and he signed with the Indians now, so maybe he's going to fill some time till Brantley officially
He's been around
comes
for
back.
a long time. And let me just share one memory with you. And this goes back to the Arizona Fall League. And you and I were there in 98, 99.
Yeah.
Marlon Byrd was there and hit a home run over the Green Monster in center field of Peoria Stadium. You know what a shot that is.
That's...
And I remember thinking, this guy's got some power. He's got a career. The only other player I saw do that was Drew Henson. And I saw Drew hit a couple balls into the hotel parking lot across the street.
Yeah, you had actually, when talking about that stuff, when looking at the spring training and everything, like to do something along those lines is being not only impressive, but you're talking about like a player to show that type of power, and then thinking like, well, okay, we've seen it too. We've seen Pujols, we've seen many guys just kill the ball in Peoria. When you're doing that, you're going to, you're gonna catch some eyes.
Yes,
there's a lot of people
definitely.
that live in Peoria and stuff too, and you're gonna actually, if you're gonna hit there, and impress yourself, especially in the fall league that we've talked about and stuff too, you might have a bright career in front of you. So yeah, Bird crushing it, and
I didn't think he would remain unsigned very long either.
I didn't think so either. I think I was kind of surprised at his success with the Phillies because a lot of times when these players like that, they kind of when they fall hard.
Yes.
And they go out of the game,
Yes.
or they're going to Japan, like Matt Merton coming back and getting another shot.
Are you downing Japan again? Let's not.
Hey, here's the thing, and I'm glad you brought that up. Now Matt Merton, he's powerful, doing a lot of stuff. He's hitting home runs in Japan. Now if he comes back and struggles here. So by your token, if it's on par...
If he comes back and struggles here, it's going to mean that he can't hit pitching here.
And you are saying that it's superior pitching.
No, I'm also going to say that something happened to him.
How do you explain that he has superpower in Japan and comes here and he's worthless?
Well, he might. We don't know. You're calling him worthless, and we don't know what he's going to do.
Well, I don't know.
You're saying what if? Let's not say what if.
Do we have spring training stats right now?
I don't have it in front of me.
The Chicago Cubs team?
How about this? What if he has a great season? You're going to say, well, it's a coincidence he did well in Japan.
I didn't say that. I would say, hey, well, I guess he turned it around, didn't he?
If he has a great season after having a great season there, that's not turning anything around.
I'm not down on Matt Merton, but I'm going to say, well, right now, if that power translates back to here, I'll be impressed. But what if it doesn't?
What if it does?
That means he killed. Well, it means he killed. We've seen this so many times. They come back from Japan, they don't have the same type of success. More times than not, they do not.
It's because they're working that much harder to hit the Japanese pitchers because the Japanese pitchers are smaller baseball.
Superhuman in Japan, but when they come back here, they're human again.
No, that's not the case. They're more focused over there because they have to prove themselves.
Well, then they should be focused here if they want to keep.
They focus here, yeah.
Yeah, are you down in the major league players if they're saying that?
Not at all. You know that. But look at Ichiro.
That's one of.
See how quiet he got. Every time I mention Ichiro, every time I mention Ichiro, it shuts down the people who
3,000 Japanese players. You have a very short list, my friend.
Yes, but I saw how quiet you got when I said Ichiro.
I didn't get quiet. I was telling. I'll give the man his due.
Happens every time I have this debate with someone.
That's all you have is one. You're a one-trick pony.
No, that's not it. I say
Ichiro, and that's it. Give me like 6 or 7 names there.
Kenta Maeda with the Dodgers this year.
He's not even pitched a major league game.
Just watch what he does.
Suzuki? Who else?
Just watch.
Kurt Suzuki played in Japan?
Hideki Matsui with the Yankees.
Oh, there he is. Godzilla.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go.
You don't have enough time because you don't have any brain cells.
I don't have enough time because our show will go way over.
Too much pressure. Under pressure, doctor. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. We got a couple more news and serious notes, as we oftentimes do. We go from one end to the other. Jose Reyes being prosecuted. I believe he's indefinitely suspended, but with pay.
Which
this is a unfortunately sad situation. We want to see the end of this. We mentioned that last.
It's domestic violence again.
This is ridiculous, and there's suspensions. You've mentioned too. Bryce Harper has mentioned that he should get a.
I want to mention that
we're going to talk about that. Right?
Yeah, Bryce Harper made some statements after this, and Reyes wasn't allowed to go to spring training either. He's facing trial on April 4th.
Yes.
Okay. Bryce Harper says that if the MLB really is serious about this, they need to send a message and ban Jose Reyes at least 81 games. Harper says If they want domestic abuse policy to be taken seriously, it has to be 81 games. A major suspension is warranted, and that's from a 24-year-old outfielder.
Yeah. Well, I definitely agree with Bryce there. This is not. This should not be taken lightly.
It's not acceptable, not only in
this is not
real
something
life,
we-
in our life, but
in any walk of
especially
life.
in professional sports, and especially Major League Baseball.
In any
It
walk of
angers
life,
me.
as we've mentioned, this is unacceptable behavior. And Major League Baseball is taking that stand, like hopefully all sports do, and I know NFL's had its problems too, is to take a stand and say, hey, we're not going to put up with this.
Yes.
You want to do this? You want to make our sport yourself, obviously, right off the bat, but you're going to make our sport look bad. Anytime the sport is talked of a player and it brings negative attention to the sport, you're going to pay for this.
That's right.
And this is something I'm wholeheartedly agree on. Suspension sometimes could be over levied just because they want to make examples out of people. This definitely needs to be done.
It does, and I agree with Harper. 81
It's-
games
hey,
should be the suspension,
You're
half
gonna
the
do this.
season.
Hey, if you're innocent and he's not prosecuted, okay. They're being tough on people who are just names attached to it.
Yes,
so,
Aroldis
hey,
Chapman
if you're
was
in the
not
middle
prosecuted.
of trouble, and oftentimes by our parents and a lot of listeners would say, you're taught right from wrong. You're,
That's
you're
right.
taught to avoid trouble and stuff. Some of these sports athletes, not just Jose Reyes or anybody, for Chapman and stuff. If you're going to put yourself, in bad situations, things like this are going to happen. Like
Yes.
you're gonna bring negative attention to yourself.
And
then-
by the same token, to Major League Baseball.
yeah, and that's the black eye in the sport, and you're going to pay for it. And I think Rob Manfred should be commended for
Absolutely.
for putting
Absolutely.
a hard line stance on something that needs to be
Right,
a
no
hard line
tolerance. Now, I wanted to mention something else.
tolerance on
We
this.
talked
It's
about this off the
ridiculous.
air a couple times.
Yeah.
Aroldis Chapman was not convicted of anything.
Yeah.
He admitted
But he still took
what he
his
did. He took his punishment, and Jose Reyes goes to trial April 4th. Let me tell you who is investigating this. Major League Baseball Security, and that is one of the... I told someone the other day, they're like the FBI.
Yeah,
Major
yeah.
League Baseball Security is very strong. And you might notice, if you heard this week, Yasiel Puig was not suspended, and they said he was released from any responsibility for anything after Major League Baseball investigated. It turned out to be just nothing. So
Yeah.
Puig was not suspended. They're not just picking and choosing players.
If your name is surrounded by this, they're telling you better make sure you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And if that keeps a low profile for the guys, then so be it. That's what you should be doing anyways. None
That's
of this
right.
should ever be even hinted at to anybody. And I know some people are proven innocent, whatever. Some things are accusations, and that's just that.
And I hope
Hockey and
I know I
stuff
said
too.
on the other show, I hope Chapman would be the last one. I hope we don't have to talk
Unsavory
about this
characters,
again.
even hanging around with unsavory characters
Yes.
when it's just that, even that alone, and it's got to be a lesson to athletes.
I really hope we don't talk about this
to do
again
that.
the rest of the
We do
season.
not want to, for sure. So, as we race towards our second station break, because this show is quickly becoming chock full of a lot of information, we're probably going to have to push our hot topic of the week to after the station break.
Yes.
But just to give you fans a great tease here, we're going to be doing our regular segment, of course, which is the good old This Day in Baseball segment, Doctor. So, as usual,
One of the
take
most
it
favorite
back.
segments from the feedback I get from listeners.
Yes, and again, as always, we thank the nationalpastime.com for this,
Yes.
and we want to definitely thank them.
I recommend looking at that site regularly.
That's a great site, and they're giving us the great info that we're giving you here. So, take it away.
And here we go.
This day in baseball. Okay, so Doctor, we're going to waste no time here.
Okay.
We are going to send it back to what our designated date is for this time, El Doctor. We're going to go all the way back to March 13th for these.
Okay,
It's
March
gonna be,
13th, and probably back in the 20s, back when you were born.
When you were around and you were a wee lad, my friend. Back in 1953. On that day, that will become known as Black Friday in Boston, Lou Perreni announces he will seek permission from the National League to move his franchise to Milwaukee, home of the team's top minor league affiliate. The Braves owner cites poor attendance as the reason for asking to relocate the club after spending 82 years in the New England city. So
Yes, a lot of people forget the Braves originated in
yeah.
Boston.
became the Milwaukee Braves, which later became the
Atlanta Braves.
So,
Yes.
yes, taking it back to history. 1954, during an exhibition game against the Yankees, recently acquired Brave Bobby Thompson breaks his ankle, ouch, in 3 places and will be sidelined until July 14th. The 51 National League playoff hero was replaced in the Braves lineup by a promising prospect named Hank Aaron.
Wow, and that's one of those things we just talked about.
Yes.
A player could get injured, and it opens the door for
It's
someone
happened
else.
so many times. I dare I say we will have probably another one in
Yes.
this show. So you watch. 1960, this day in baseball history. Much to the chagrin of other owners and most of his players, Bill Veeck's White Sox become the first team to put the players' names on the back of the jersey. Unveiling a new look on their road uniforms in an exhibition game against Cincinnati in Tampa, the rest of the league's clubs protest to Chicago's owner's innovation. The commissioner's office will rule that in addition to displaying traditional numbers, each team will have the option, mind you, to use moniker uniforms. So he doesn't force anybody, but
I
hey,
didn't
Bill
know
Veeck
that.
wants to put their names on there.
That's right.
So,
And let me
yeah.
mention 2 things about that.
Yeah.
Numbers originally were put on the uniforms back in the 20s, and they corresponded with your place in the batting order. That's why Babe Ruth was number 3 and Lou Gehrig number 4. One other thing, MC, there's one major league team right now that does not put names on the back of the uniform. Do you know who that is?
Oh, tell me, Doctor.
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Yes. And how do you feel about that?
Hey, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with or without names. The Angels, like everyone knows, Mike Trout is number 27, so his
As
name
we
doesn't
sit
need to be
here,
on
the
there.
doctor is wearing number 2, and I'm wearing number 1 here on the fast pitch on the back of our jersey. But that's just because he let me have the number 1. So
I pretend. I
Yeah.
let you fantasize that you're number 1.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Okay, and finally, in 1986, Royals teammates Hal McRae, 39, and his 18-year-old son Brian appear together in a preseason game against the Phillies. Kansas City manager Dick Hauser refers to the father-son event as Big Mac Attack.
Oh, I like that. Big
That's
Mac
amazing,
Attack.
but here's the thing, and I believe in a future show, there's been some other father-son stuff that we
Ken
probably
Griffey and
talk
Ken
about.
Griffey Jr. And
Yeah.
I believe it does come up in
There's
another show.
some scandal, I think, that we'll probably mention in another show, probably, a story about that.
No scandal about the Griffeys. Let me point that out.
Not about that, but I think there's a scandal around that story that you're going to tell, and I'm
Yes.
going to request that you tell that next show. Because we're running short on time this show. So that's some great stuff in this baseball history. And we are running pretty long again, so we do have to go to our second station break, folks. When we come back, we're going to do some heavy hitting as we bring back our hot topic of the week. We reveal the fast pitch feuds, 3 questions, the spring train, which is over with, ticket winner. So we will tell you who that was. We tell you who the current winner will be, obviously, of this. Go into our FFT of shortstops and tease our next great show's guest. So we're going to head to the station break, Doctor, and we will be right back. You are listening to The Best Station, the best music for the best audience. Find us at our home, www.thebeststation.net.
Scott Kazmir finished both the 2014 and 2015 seasons as a borderline top 40 starter, and he might well finish right around that line as a new member of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's no longer the strikeout artist he once was, his rate roughly 5% lower now than it was during his first 5 seasons, and he now relies much more upon his slider and changeup than his four-seamer from his early days as a power pitcher. Still, this will be his first year in the National League, and the league's limited exposure to him, as well as the presence of the pitcher in the lineup, might present an advantage, even if only in the short term. Kazmir's odds of a top 40 starter repeat or better are pretty good.
I'm sitting here with my good friend. I am but a co-pilot to the great Tony Plush.
Believe it. See, believe it.
Describe Tony Plush in 5 adjectives.
Easy breezy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, well confident.
It's one tough mother.
Not cocky.
What a player.
He likes to be known as just a guy that has a lot of fun, a lot of personality.
Amen, brother.
And most of all, the swag.
Could you send the fans, Tony Plush, a personal message from you to them?
For those who have wrote in Nigel Morgan, please stop. Just definitely put in Tony.Plush. And he will definitely make it happen for you.
Write in Tony Plush.
back on the Fast Pitch Game 15. Lots of stuff we were talking about here, Doctor, just out of control.
Yes, it's getting very different than our shows in the off season when we, didn't have all that much news. It's really overflowing now.
So here's the thing, folks. We welcome you to listen to, obviously, hopefully you're staying up for the whole entire show. This is giving you different perspectives, feedback, fantasy. There are so many different baseball things. If you are a baseball fan, this is the show to listen to. And we love our listeners. They give us a lot of great feedback. And stay with us because there's a lot of great stuff on this third part that don't be afraid because the show is running longer that, you're getting a lot of content for this.
I want to mention something, too.
Free of charge.
Our listeners, the number of our listeners has grown exponentially since we debuted. And we are, I'm just going to tease this, we are going to have a very special type of show in the near future where you will be able to call, go live on the air, and talk with us.
Fun stuff, yeah, definitely. We're working on plans, folks, to hopefully become even more interactive because we'd love to have these passionate discussions, including other guests
That's
and
right.
stuff, and
That's
not
right.
just guests, but you great callers coming in and listeners. So we're going to get into our hot topic of the week here, Doctor, which is something that's been brewing in the past. We've had Beat LAZ Force ask us about Goose Gossage's comments.
Yes,
about
the great Goose Gossage.
and versus kind of Bryce Harper's comments, basically. And basically, Goose is saying he's having a problem with I think the sabermetric stuff, the new school way of the GMs being guys who haven't played the game.
That's right.
He's just he's getting pissed at excuse me my language. He's getting, and he says a lot more.
Oh, his language was much more salty.
A effing disgrace, of course, is what he's actually quoted on Bautista, basically in Cespedes. He's not a fan.
What about
of those
Bautista?
He basically says
the bat
throwing
flip?
his bat, acting like a fool, like all those guys. He basically included all the guys in Toronto.
No, well, Bautista's bat flip was just way over the top. I had a debate with James F. Russell about this the day it happened, and we went on and on about it. And James, I hope you're listening. That bat flip was uncalled for. It got the Toronto fans going crazy. They ended up having to stop the game because the fans threw debris on the field. Why do you throw debris on the field when your team just took the lead, MC? Explain that to me.
Don't condone that. Certainly, here's the thing. Here's the topic we're talking about. Goose is saying stuff like, hey, in my day, he would have taken care of it. And basically, he would have said he would have probably beaten him the next time he's up.
And that's how the game should be played today, in my opinion.
So against that, the new school, we're talking about 1920s era, Doctor, to 1980s era myself. We're looking at the new school, Bryce Harper, who says, hey, I'm okay with the pitcher pumps his fist when he strikes me out. Don't be mad if I celebrate when I get, my deal. So you get me, that's fine. I'm cool. Do what you do. Let me do what I do. And Bryce Harper's deal is, he thinks that baseball has become tired and old, that you can't express yourself because, this guy might hit me. A pitcher with the mindset of Goose Gossage, old school, is going to hit me.
Yeah.
He's going to do this. He's not afraid, I don't think. He's just like, this is...
That's how the game was played. That goes back to Drysdale, Bob Gibson.
Well, yeah, and those guys were tough. They didn't take no guff.
That's right.
They weren't afraid to retaliate.
You did not show up either of those guys.
But the problem is this. Here's what Bryce is saying, is that there's no expression. The sport needs to get with the times. You need to be able to express. Look at the other sports that have evolved. The baseball needs to evolve and show, hey, some emotion. Get these fans that are watching in there, these young kids that play the game, because they see that emotion is contagious.
And I agree that they need to be able to show emotion, but I totally agree with Gossage about sabermetrics and general managers who never played. It's changed the game in ways I don't like, and most of the people I talk with, again, who grew up in my era, MC, most of them agree with Gossage. Now, let me ask this. And everyone who knows me knows that I like Bryce Harper. I always have.
Yeah, you have been a proponent of him.
For many years, I like him. In fact, I'm beyond having kids, but if I had a son today, I would name him Bryce. But let me ask this. Since when has Bryce Harper become the spokesman for all players?
Since he became the NL MVP.
Oh, okay.
I would say that's a pretty big contention.
That is a big soapbox to be able to stand on.
So Goose says it is a joke, that going back to the sabermetrics, the game is becoming a freaking joke because of the nerds who are running it. I think right there, here's what Bryce is probably talking about. You have an old school guy like Goose drawing a line in the sand, say, because he doesn't like that part of the game, that he thinks it's a joke, and the evolution of the game will tell you that's how these major league franchises are being ran.
Yes.
Not all guys. I mean, we talk about Dave Stewart, being Diamondbacks GM. But
Dave
you look
Stewart,
at-
by the way,
there's-
was a guy who would hit somebody
I know,
who showed
but
him
then
up.
but you also have guys like Theo Epstein. You have guys that that are in the game doing. I mean, Billy Bean.
Billy
played the
Bean,
game,
and
though, right?
his pitchers don't
You
do
know.
that. Billy did play the game.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe he's not to play the game of the type of Bryce Harper, but he plays the game. So, but Goose is saying here, like, I don't like this way these teams are assembled from the stat men.
Right.
You guys are
And I agree with
nerds.
him.
You know, we're calling you nerds. I mean, playing fantasy baseball, so everybody's a nerd now. I mean, what is like?
Yeah,
is
remember,
Goose
you
like
and I
it?
were called a couple of baseball geeks a few weeks
Yeah.
ago by PJM in Campbell, California.
Yeah, well,
But now, listen,
a
seriously.
little harsh, but yeah.
Listen, sabermetrics has its place, but it's a very small place, in my opinion. Anyone who read the book Moneyball or saw the movie, the character named Pete, who had been a Yale graduate, that's a real guy, by the way,
Yeah.
Yale graduate in mathematics, all of a sudden changed the entire approach of the Oakland A's with Billy Bean's approval.
Yeah.
And I think it's gone downhill ever since.
Yeah, I mean,
How do you judge a player's character? You can't put that
No,
down on a piece of paper.
That is true. And here's the thing, and this is where I think, is there any exactly right or wrong? I think both have valid points. I mean, there's an integrity of the game I think Goose would stick up for. I mean,
Yes.
I'm not going to sit there and crucify Goose. He's like, what's too much showboating? A little ridiculous. I mean, what Bryce is also saying, he's saying, hey, you want more people to attend these games? You want more people to spend their money, especially in this rising, economy that's hurting. But you want people to stake their hard-earned money and actually say to this, because we've both heard it. I think
Yes.
all of our listeners heard it. Oh, baseball's boring. I can't get it boring. It's a thinking man's game.
It is a thinking man's
it's a
game. But anyone who thinks
exciting
it's
game.
boring isn't into it.
Yeah, they just maybe like you want to get new fans. I think that's the goal of any sports entity. You want new fans to join
Yes.
you. But you want to also maintain what has kept the game around for so many years.
Right. Now, let me mention Harper again, because I believe this is how he has approached the game ever since he's been in it.
Yeah.
You might remember this. His first week in the major leagues, a game against the Philadelphia Phillies,
Yeah.
he got plunked right in the ribs by Cole Hamels.
Yeah.
Did he charge the mound? Did he get upset? No. You know what he did? He stole second base, got hit over to third base on a ground ball, and stole home.
Yeah.
Now, after the game, Hamels said, yes, I hit him on purpose. It was my way to welcome him to the majors. And all Harper said was, well, I showed him what I could do too.
Oh yeah.
And Harper has always had that approach. It's why I love the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not downing him, but when did he become the spokesman for all major league players? I don't believe everybody agrees with him.
Well, I mean, there's the thing. No, because not all players do that. Obviously, you got select players that do show that type of emotion.
Yes.
But I think he's got a pretty big stance as one of the young rising stars and
Yes.
players of this game.
Oh, hit
Just
MVP.
won just
24
won
years
MVP,
old.
obviously. So here's the thing with Harper is he's like he wants to be the man to usher in this kind of new
Yes.
era in baseball. I don't. If you ask Bryce Harper, I don't think he's asking to squash and trample the old school rules and old school.
Yeah, I can accept
things
that.
there. But I think he wants to garner. I think he wants this game to get with the times. I think he's trying to say, let us show some emotion. Let us
Yes.
show. Let the fans get behind me when I hit that home run and not worry about, now there's going to be a base brawl when the pitcher plunks him or the next
Yeah.
batter who comes up to the plate. So I mean. I think there's got to be a line that maybe gets moved.
And
or something,
we talked about Harper. Let me mention another player who I had a chance to interview a couple days ago. Slugger, a great player, a potential MVP, and he never shows up to pitch. I'm talking about Paul Goldschmidt of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
That guy's a class act. He doesn't flip his bat, and he runs the bases. I actually saw him tip his hat to a rookie pitcher who struck him out during a spring training game. Now that's class right there.
If I didn't know any better, I would imagine that if you could get rid of your Dodger blue, that you would become a Diamondback.
No, I just
Red.
respect the Arizona Diamondbacks' talent, but I especially respect Paul Goldschmidt's talent.
So what do you think about them jumping in the pool?
Dodgers?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a great thing. I didn't think there was
really?
anything wrong with it.
That just completely contradicts.
No, I didn't say there.
A lot of people said that was a classless move by the Dodgers in the home.
A lot of
stadium
people were wrong.
The Arizona Diamondbacks. So you you're on one fence when it suits you. And the
No. Why? If the Diamondbacks won the division in Dodger Stadium, I guarantee you they would run out and
just slither around like snakes all over the field? What else could they do?
possibly they are the snakes. They would go out to a bubble machine that played. They would go out and run around the bubbles and
disrespect the ballpark by jumping around.
Hey, they win the division. They have a right to celebrate, no matter if it's
climb
home
over
or away.
walls and make themselves at home at the Dodger Stadium. Would you all be okay with that?
If Dodger Stadium had a pool,
Dodger Nation would be
if
okay
Dodger Stadium was silly enough to put a pool.
I'm not even a Diamondback fan. I'm not even saying. I mean, it just obviously that struck a nerve.
I want to hear from Chuck Boyer on
I
this.
would think Chuck Boyer would be interested to hear.
It struck a nerve because the Diamondbacks lost.
Well,
That's why it struck a nerve.
But here you are talking about respect to the game and Goose Gossage. Do you think Goose approved of them jumping around in the Diamondbacks pool and making fools of themselves?
They make fools of themselves.
Yeah, they did.
He would have hit somebody.
He would probably hit somebody, right? This is an in-depth discussion. I don't think we're done with this, kind of like salaries. I think this come in there. Obviously, this was a big topic in the past
This is going to be
week.
ongoing, I'm sure.
And old school versus new school. Here's our question to you fans. Which side are you on?
Yes.
Which side do you take? If the line is drawn, and you got guys like Harper who want this game to be, step up to new times and emotion, or are you with the Goose? And are you going to say, no, you guys out of line, get rid of these baseball nerds and put some, guys like myself in the office, no celebrating at all, or to get hit? Where are you at in this discussion, folks? We want to hear from you. Beat LA Z-Force obviously brought it to our attention.
Yes, I thank Beat LA Z-Force for
Yes,
that.
we want to hear from you, Beat LA Z-Force. Everybody else, too. We're challenging you guys. Let us know what you think, because we want to read some of these. We're going to obviously continue this discussion on social media.
Yeah, you and I have more to say about it with each other.
In Game 17,
and I mentioned Goose was a great player in his era, one of my favorites. But I also, again, I want to mention, I wasn't downing Bryce Harper. He is at the top of the list as far as I'm concerned. I'm a fan of his. I love watching him play.
You better kiss us behind, because maybe Scott Kazmir might not shake your thing. But I've seen Bryce Harper when he was in that dugout against their...
against Jonathan Papelbon, yeah, we'll never forget that.
We will not forget that one. So, yes, all this says we have to, unfortunately, we've got 2 more segments to go to, so we want to hear from you guys at the Fast Pitch MLB, Facebook.com/the Fast Pitch. Let us know. This will probably be on Game 17, as we will tease at the end of this show. Game 16 is going to be a special show, so we want to hear from you guys. And then our next show, obviously, we're going to have some great stuff happening.
Yes.
Do it in part to our next segment, Doctor. So with this, as we move on to our next edition of the Fast Pitch Feud,
the Fast Pitch Feud becoming a popular thing.
Yes, this will be that will actually also be on Game 17 due to the nature of what's going on. And let's intro it here, folks. Welcome to Fast Pitch Feud. All right, welcome to Fast Pitch Feud. Doctor?
I want to thank you again, MC, for writing that song and performing all the instruments on that song.
Yeah. And I just, I love to hear it. Unfortunately, we cannot play the full Fast Pitch Feud credits.
Yeah, some TV show stole that from you, and I've always felt bad about that.
On back in 1920 when you wrote that theme, and I performed it for you in the present day. Yes, they took it from you. But we're on the feud, and this is the awesome segment that we have, which is interactive to you fans.
It's become very popular.
It's not just a clear, cut and dry, hey, whoever gets this first wins it. We had to beat the master, Chuck Boyer, and stump him somehow, and so he just doesn't sneak in and get every single prize in the universe, even though he's posted on social media that he has his own UPS truck for us to...
yeah, he directed that at me, and I take it lightly. Chuck is a good friend,
yes.
And
in all seriousness, Chuck's a great listener. We enjoy his feedback as always. He's a great listener. Hopefully, he listens to this, very soon when this show drops.
Guarantee he will.
Hear from him shortly. Then, obviously, but here's the thing: last show we had 2 things. We had a contest. Basically, if we got at least 5 participating contest entries, we would hold a raffle, which we did. And unfortunately, because the game was taking place this past week, we told that winner already, because we didn't have the forum to in this sense. And that winner, lo and behold, was Chuck Boyer.
And I can't believe that happened.
And that's, in all seriousness, we had 5 other participants.
And an impartial person, not even connected with us, drew the name.
Chuck's name out. So this is not just the Chuck show. Unfortunately, Chuck couldn't go to the game, which was sad. But we tried to give him as much head up. But Chuck is very busy.
Chuck
with the Diamondbacks.
is working. He's he has a busy job, so he can't make it.
Chuck.
He goes to a lot of Diamondbacks games.
Yeah, he's a Diamondback man. So if it was a Diamondback prize, we probably would have had Chuck Hampton.
Yes.
But here's the thing: we're gonna our 3 questions from last week's show too, so we can move on with this. The first one was, if you played in the major leagues, what position would you choose to play? And the number one answer, Doctor, was pitcher.
Pitcher, doesn't surprise me.
And that had a point value of 4. Center field was the second place, 3. All other answers was 1. Our next one was the Dodgers. Focused on that. When you think Dodgers, LA, or Brooklyn, which ball player, past or present, immediately comes to mind? The number one answer, of course, was the great
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson at number 3 point total. Sandy Koufax came in second. All others were 1, and we just don't have the time to give you every single answer. We would love to. If you want to message us, we will gladly. And finally, if your team is in Game 7 of the World Series and you have a chance to go travel paid, rounded to the nearest dollar, what is the most you'd pay for any ticket? And before you give this, what would you pay, just on a hypothetically?
Me? I get in free, but if I had to pay,
you had to pay, which you never do.
Let's see, I'd pay $500.
Okay, that's good. That's number 2 answer. Number 1 was $1,000.
$1,000.
At a point value of 4. Here's the cool thing: we had a lot. We had 6 total people that was in that drawing. The winner is Tom Meeks. He actually guessed every single number 1 answer right. Tom Meeks. It is not Chuck Boyer. So, Mr. Tom Meeks, we want to thank you very much. You got all 3 top questions right. The number 1 point total, max, I should say, was 11, and he got all 11. There was nobody who tied him. There was a gentleman who came 2 points short of it. But if they would have tied, we would have done that drawing.
Yes.
Obviously, he wouldn't have just automatically won. But Tom wins.
Tom Meeks. Wow, Tom wins, and this is the first time he's played the game.
Which is cool. Good
Yes,
job.
and oddly enough, Tom went to the same high school as I did, Alhambra High School.
Look at that. And Tom wins the Dodgers.
Tom wins
special edition.
Special edition Los Angeles Dodgers baseball, which I'm sure Tom will put in a case and put it up on his mantelpiece.
That's not one I hear, but hopefully it's treated with respect and not thrown in a pool. But Tom, here's the also bonus for you, Tom, and hopefully you're listening. You will get to choose one question for it, just as Chuck did, which was cool because Chuck was our last winner of the Fast Pitch Feud. Tom will choose one of the questions that will be on Game 17. So when Game 17 comes out, Tom's question will be offered there.
I look forward to this question.
And here's the cool thing. Now we got 3 new questions. There will be undisclosed, number of baseball fans. The first one submitted by Chuck Boyer. Chuck tried to sneak in. For some reason, we had multiple questions from Chuck. I would love to use all of your questions, Chuck. We chose our favorite one. Only one for you guys, folks. So Chuck gave us a great question. So here's the first one for you. Get your pen and pad ready. What team has the best-looking uniform in MLB? So undisclosed number of baseball fans.
Good question.
Are asked this.
Good question.
So yes. Now here's the thing. You got. What do you think fans will say? So that's the thing. What do you think fans will say? And that's what you're trying to win here, folks. And we'll tell you what you'll win here very shortly. Second one. When you think Montreal Expos from the past, which ball player comes to your mind? So
another good question.
Obviously, Montreal Expos team became the Washington Nationals. They do not count. This is Expos only.
That's right. I love those Expos hats.
Yes, and that cannot be an answer for best looking uniform either.
That's right.
And finally, this is staying, I think, in a lot of the flavor of Family Feud. Name something you would find on a baseball field. So that's the third question.
Something you would find on a baseball field.
Something you would find on a baseball field. That could be anything. So the great thing here is let us know what you think the fans will say. And that might be a little bit harder than the other one. So those 3 questions, one of them by Chuck. Thank you again, Chuck Boyer, our last winner. Tom Meeks will give us our next one on the next show. What the winner is going to, we're really excited about this because this kind of is going to lead into our final segment too, is the winner becomes the final spot team in our Fast Pitch Fantasy
League. That's right.
Which will be debuting in a couple weeks on the show. And what is the Fast Pitch Fantasy League is our Fast Pitch's own fantasy baseball league, which is basically all your players will play, so including a bench, which will be good utility. And pitchers and batters, we'll give you all the rules. Obviously, if you win this one, folks, you will have that last spot. Fronted by myself and the doctor, you get a place in this league, and there will be a cash prize if you win.
That's right, and you pay nothing. We're going to cover it.
Yeah, you pay nothing. So you're in this with a lot of competitive guys in there, and you may not even have to do anything and you can win.
That's right.
We know people like that.
Yes, we do.
So But you'll have the option to join us in our draft. We welcome it and encourage it. We hope you do. In every league, you can be involved in trades and competing head-to-head on a point scale. This is going to be a different league that we both have participated in, much like the football leagues we've did. Each player is going to match their point total, and that's who you're doing. You're using each one of your players, whatever points they get at the end, totaled up, you're trying to beat the other guy.
That's right.
So,
and of the 8 players, everyone else is going to pay to be in there. You don't pay anything, and you could win the whole pot.
Right now we're at 8. It could be more, but yeah, I think we're going to be around probably an 8-team league. At least that's the plan as of now. So, yes, the draft is always one of the funnest parts of the thing as we lead into our nice warm cup of fantasy FFT.
And I could use a warm cup right now.
Then we're going to kind of tease that. So those 3 questions, write them down. We'll post them for you again, obviously, folks. So I'll do a heavy special social media plug on that. We're going to segue in there. The winner becomes a member of what this segment will become called the Fast Pitch Fantasy League. Right now, we're still on FFT, and we're going to be talking about shortstops, Doctor. So leading up from the feud into this regular segment of FFT, so now you're kind of like, hey, maybe I win this fast pitch, feud thing, and I become a member of this. I better pay attention to these shortstops that we're about to tell you.
That's right.
And that's right. The cool thing is, folks, is you're going to be, if you win this, we're going to track you. Every show we'll be saying, hey, our listener blank, blank, fill in the blank. He's actually doing this in a league, and we want to know. So the cool thing is, as we run down these shortstops, and this is a pretty important position, Doctor.
Yes,
because,
it is.
I don't dare say that we're going to do outfielders next show.
But there's a lot of shortstops too.
A lot of shortstops, and looking at some of these players, look at the AL Rookie of the Year, Carlos Correa.
He's number 1, and if you look at the National League list that I have, potential NL Rookie of the Year, Corey Seager is listed number 1.
Right
Young guy.
Yeah, definitely, and he didn't get the service time, so he's eligible.
That's right.
Just running down some of these names because our show is running long, obviously. Troy Tulowitzki of the Toronto Blue Jays, he's got to be up there constantly. They're just consistently, a force to be reckoned with in fantasy. Xander Bogaerts had a breakout season for sure last year. Francisco Lindor, I believe you had him,
I
right?
did, and he was an all-star. He came in second in the American League Rookie of the Year.
Look at this. He'll be eligible shortstop only at the beginning, but Ian Desmond will probably have outfield eligibility, 10 games into this
That's
year.
a good pickup.
So, he's now Texas Rangers left fielder now until Josh Hamilton comes
And let
back.
me mention, some people may consider this guy a sleeper. I don't, but Starlin Castro now with the Yankees.
Yes. He'll still be shortstop eligible,
Yes.
but he's also going to be second
That's
base
right.
eligible, at least. That's what we're looking at. I think you believe he has both. Yeah, you're right. Addison Russell, the guy who replaced him, basically, he's shortstop and second base.
Right, and we can't forget Brandon Crawford of the Giants.
Crawford of the potentially NL West champion Diamondback rivals.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Diamondbacks. I thought I caught you.
I stumped you. Because I knew you wanted to say Diamondbacks. You're thinking those Chuck Borders off the hook now. So the potential winners of the National League West, we'll see. Brandon Crawford's Giants, obviously. Manny Machado, he's up there. As shortstop and third baseman. I don't remember how much shortstop he played last year.
I don't think he played much last year.
But they still got him listed. I don't know if that's
Do
going to
not
stick.
forget Alcides Escobar of the Royals.
Yes, very true. Sleeper. Jung Ho Kong, right?
Yes, coming off his broken leg that was caused by a Chicago Cub last year.
No. He's in Oakland A's.
Yeah, but he was a Cub.
So was Zach Greinke. He was also at Los Angeles Dodgers, but he's not anymore.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
Pass,
this is bad slides, according to you. I say they were good slides.
Pass. We also have Elvis Andrus. He was the shortstop of the playoff Texas Rangers. A name on there because Brad Miller's traded. Tell us a little bit from your expertise about Ketel Marte, the Seattle Mariners shortstop.
Ketel Marte, young guy, and
potential rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year, puts up good numbers. He has power numbers for a shortstop, and he's a sleeper. I don't want to reveal anything, but you mentioning him, you were reading my mind because I'm thinking of taking him.
Now the cat's out of the bag. Johnny Peralta, as we mentioned earlier in the show, he's going to be out till after All-Star break. So look at potential Ruben Tejada. If you're a Cardinals fan and you want your shortstop in there, then you better take Ruben.
Didn't the White Sox sign Jimmy Rollins?
Yes, I was going to mention. Yeah, the sleeper's way down the list. Obviously, unfortunately, Jimmy is not the player he used to be, but he's going to get starts with the Sox. Their former shortstop is now San Diego Padre, Alexi Ramirez.
Alexi Ramirez, and that's
He's
another
been up
sleep.
and down. You had him, and you weren't happy with
I
him
wasn't,
last
but
year. 2 years ago, he was okay. I had
Just
to trade
like
for him.
another guy on the list, Jean Segura of the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think he and Alexi both will benefit from a change of scenery. I really do.
Eugenio Suarez from the Reds is rising young star. If you have fielding stats, be very careful of Marcus Semien because he was probably going to rack up a lot of
I
negative
will never
points,
forget that.
as he is prone to do with
I had him for a
errors.
week last year, and
Yeah.
it was too much.
Very scary. Looking at potential sleepers, you have to look at who the Colorado Rockies are probably going to replace at shortstop, because obviously the suspension with Reyes. Do you have any inside knowledge of any good shortstops?
I don't. I think it'll be.
Colorado?
I think it might be a rookie.
Trevor Story is who I have.
Trevor Story, that's the one I heard about.
Yeah.
I have not seen the Rockies
He's gonna
much.
get plenty of time. No?
Yeah, I haven't seen the Rockies much this spring. I will be seeing them twice this week, so I'll be
Forward to your
reporting on them
insight,
for
yeah.
the MLB Network, and I will bring it back to our next
He's going to
show.
be probably playing most of the game at that point, too,
Yes.
because we're late, into that second swing, the second half of spring training. Just real quick to get in some others, Andre Elton Simmons was traded, obviously, to the Los Angeles Angels, so he'll be the starting shortstop there.
For Eric
the
Ibar.
defensive wizard that he is.
And Eric Ibar was the hitting wizard, but not much of defense.
He's on the Braves now.
Yeah.
Jose Iglesias, who you would,
Had him all season.
Yeah, you had him all season. He's the Detroit Tigers shortstop. He's very low on the list, but you said you would say you'd probably take him again.
I would
down
say
there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's so low on the list because he hit over 300.
So if you win this fast pitch feud, folks, and you get in there, be careful because the doctor may steal him from you if you have your eye on him.
He hit over 300. He had 30 stolen bases, I think.
Young Freddie Galvis would have to be shortstop of the Phillies.
Yes.
Brock Holt, utility man galore. I actually had him for a little bit, and he's good to plug in there. Here's the thing with our league: you're gonna play everybody. So if you got somebody in there, you want somebody to play every day because there's no room for reserves. So if Brock's playing all over the field, he's probably going to get some start somewhere. So he's not a bad man to put on your list. Danny Espinosa's got like whole infield eligibility. So he's Washington's. I believe he's going to be in there.
Who did I have? Jervis Solarte last year had complete infield eligibility, and I used him a lot.
Didi Gregorius of the Yankees, he's their starter because Starlin Castro's second
Yes.
baseman. But, just so many great players in here. And this is the thing, folks. Shortstop, important position to have. If you have fielding, he's going to get you assists. If you don't, you're going to be looking at, you better get a good hitter because otherwise he's going to be in there. And
I'll tell you what, I bet Carlos Correa goes very early.
I had him.
You did. You took a flyer on him, and he had a great year.
I didn't waste any time because here's the thing with the shortstop. I grabbed Jose Altuve for second. I was a fan of him, and I wanted him 2 years ago. And I said, this guy's a hitting machine.
I tried to get him, and you
he
snagged
didn't
him.
disappoint, but here's the thing. Because of that, the shortstop I took got taken a little bit later. I don't even remember him, but I replaced him with Correa, and I was not disappointed in
Right,
Correa.
and
Correa
you had the
did
double
his job
play
for me.
combination from the Astros,
Yes, I did.
and
So
you almost won. But who won our league last year?
I lost to the doctor.
Yeah, that's right, I won.
But a little bit different. Here's the thing, folks. The great thing about this is you can defeat the doctor. He's defending a championship here.
That's right.
As I tried to do, and he puts it on the line in a Fast Pitch Fantasy League, which you have a chance to win with Fast Pitch Feud. So as this all ties together, we want to thank you all for listening because we want your feedback here. So let us know about a good old school versus new school. Play the Fast Pitch Feud. Get in this Fantasy Fan League. And that's going to be the cool thing because we want interaction. This is going to give us some interaction.
And as I mentioned, we have a lot of listeners.
Show,
a lot of listeners who are fantasy baseball players.
I'm excited about it.
Me too.
As I am our guest for next show, which you are going to reveal to us right now.
Yes, we have a great guest for our next show, broadcaster Tim Haggerty. Tim with the El Paso Chihuahuas, which is the AAA affiliate of the San Diego Padres. Tim has written a really humorous book about baseball. We're going to talk about his career, how he's risen up from his first job was with me in the Arizona Fall League, same booth. And Tim's a great guest. A lot of stories, a lot of humorous things. So he'll be talking with us.
An excellent show. This is something that's going to be we have on doc, and as we record, sometimes we have to record some of the shows, together like this. The cool thing about this. We're still going to not only bring you that great 20-plus minute interview with Tim Haggerty, we're going to bring some of our regular features on that show. So Game 16 is going to be pretty quick. We'll get this probably to you soon. Obviously, after this one, you hear this one. But the cool thing is everything will be back on Game 17.
Right, and I'm looking forward to feedback on Tim Haggerty's interview.
Oh, yeah. This will be great. We can't plug this enough.
Yes.
And we'll be giving you how to reach Tim, how you can get a hold of his book and everything. It's just going to be a great show, and we can't wait to bring it to you.
And how to listen to him this season.
Yeah. So
I have said this before, I've never worked with a better announcer.
It's just going to be a lot of fun. So we want to tell you guys, tune in for Game 16. You will not want to miss that one. So, Doctor, we're going to wrap this up. So this was a great, long, but chock-filled show. We want to hear from you guys, so definitely give us that feedback. We love hearing from you. Play the Fast Pitch Feud and get in on this stuff, because it's the Fast Pitch Fantasy League is the way to go now. So, for the Fast Pitch Game 15, I'm your co-host, MC Brown.
I'm Eric Lenneberg.
And join us next time, folks. Be careful, Game 16. Be careful out there in this crazy times here and in the heat that's to come soon. We got the baseball coming up. So thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time.
Be safe and have a great week wherever you are. Thank you, folks.
Thank you. You are listening to thebeststation.net, home of the best station, the best music for the best audience. Now featuring the best podcasts for the best audience.
In a garden of freedom, honey, don't you know that I'm loving you? In a garden of freedom, baby, don't you know that I'll always be true? Oh, won't you come with me and take my hand? Oh, won't you come with me and walk this line? Please take my hand. Let me tell you, in a garden of Eden, honey, don't you know that I'm loving you? In a garden of Eden, baby, don't you know that I'll always be true? Oh, won't you come with me and take my hand? Oh, won't you come with me and walk this line? Please take my hand. In a garden of freedom, honey. Don't you know that